There are certain mornings that arrive carrying a pressure you cannot logically explain, a strange feeling in your chest that whispers something is changing before your eyes can even recognize it. And today is one of those mornings. This is not ordinary energy moving through the sky. This is not another passing astrological moment that fades before sunset. What unfolds on May 13th carries the kind of momentum that quietly alters timelines. Yet most people will move through the day completely disconnected from what is standing right in front of them. They will answer emails, rush through routines, complain about small inconveniences, and never realize they brushed against one of the most fortunate, energetic openings of the entire year. But you were drawn here because some deeper part of you already sensed the shift before your conscious mind could explain it. That restless anticipation you have been carrying lately was not random. That subtle pull towards something bigger, that feeling that life is standing on the edge of revealing a new chapter, has been building for a reason. And later you will finally understand why this sensation has felt impossible to ignore. The sky today is forming a Mercury-Jupiter sextile, a rare harmony between the planet governing thought, speech, decisions, agreements, and mental clarity, and the planet associated with growth, opportunity, abundance, and expansion. Yet what makes this alignment exceptionally powerful is not merely the aspect itself, but the condition Jupiter currently occupies. Jupiter is moving through Cancer, the sign where its influence becomes exalted, amplified, and capable of expressing its highest qualities with extraordinary strength. In this placement, Jupiter does not hesitate. It pours blessings outward with ease. It magnifies intuition, emotional intelligence, protection, prosperity, and fortunate openings in ways that feel almost divinely orchestrated. And when Mercury, the ruler of communication and cognition, aligns harmoniously with this exalted Jupiter, something unusual begins to happen inside both the external world and the hidden chambers of your inner reality. Conversations that once felt blocked begin unfolding naturally. News arrives that changes the direction of plans. Opportunities appear through ordinary interactions that suddenly become life-altering. Words carry influence. Timing becomes strangely precise. Doors that looked permanently closed begin to loosen without force. Yet this alignment contains a truth many people will never understand. This is not passive luck descending from the heavens onto disconnected spectators. This is activated fortune. It requires awareness. It demands participation. The people who benefit most from this energy are not necessarily the smartest or the most prepared. They are the ones willing to recognize the opening, while everyone else dismisses it as coincidence. Somewhere today, someone will receive a phone call that redirects their future. Someone will speak a sentence that changes an entire relationship. Someone will finally understand an idea that has confused them for months. Someone will notice an opportunity hidden inside a casual conversation and realize later that this exact moment altered everything. The real question is whether you are emotionally awake enough to recognize your own turning point when it appears. What makes this even more significant is that the energetic shift did not suddenly begin this morning. The current moving through your life has been quietly strengthening for days, and if you have felt unusually alert, unusually reflective, or strangely hopeful lately, there is a reason for that. Most astrologers focus only on the exact alignment itself, but they ignore the energetic preparation that precedes these moments. On May 10th, only 2 days earlier, the Sun formed its own sextile with Jupiter, and that event acted as the ignition point for everything unfolding now. The Sun represents identity, vitality, confidence, and the core essence of who you are becoming. When it harmonized with Jupiter, it flooded the atmosphere with optimism, possibility, and expanded vision. That was the beginning of the opening. It was the moment the universe started showing glimpses of what could become possible if you were willing to believe beyond your current limitations. Many people felt this without understanding it. Some noticed sudden bursts of inspiration. Others experienced unusual emotional clarity. Some began imagining futures they previously considered unrealistic. That was not fantasy. That was initiation. The Sun-Jupiter sextile revealed the horizon. It illuminated potential. It planted the vision. And now Mercury arrives to translate that vision into movement, communication, negotiation, planning, and tangible manifestation. What was previously sensed emotionally now begins taking shape mentally. What existed as intuition now seeks language. What was invisible now starts becoming actionable. This is why the days between now and May 17th matter so deeply. This is not a single, isolated transit. It is a carefully unfolding sequence, each alignment building upon the previous one like stepping stones, guiding consciousness from imagination into reality. And if you have felt lately that something beneath the surface of life has been rearranging itself quietly, you are not imagining that sensation. You're responding to an energetic current already in motion. Today is simply the moment when the invisible finally begins revealing itself in ways the mind can grasp. You may even notice something deeply unusual happening within your own thoughts today. Mercury-Jupiter alignments do not merely influence external circumstances. They reshape perception itself. Your mind may suddenly begin organizing information differently. Problems that felt overwhelming may unravel with surprising simplicity. Ideas that once appeared disconnected may suddenly form complete patterns. You may notice yourself understanding people more clearly, recognizing hidden motives, or seeing opportunities hidden inside situations that previously seemed meaningless. This is Mercury, traveling through Taurus, slowing the chaotic speed of thought and grounding ideas into something stable, practical, and real, while Jupiter in Cancer expands emotional wisdom and intuitive understanding. Together, they create a rare balance between logic and feeling, between strategy and instinct. Thoughts no longer remain abstract. They settle into the body. They become decisions. They become plans. They become action. And for many people, this will feel like awakening from mental fog. They did not even realize they were trapped inside. Something unusual begins to happen when practical intelligence merges with expanded vision, and that exact fusion is unfolding in the sky right now. This is not the kind of inspiration that disappears by tomorrow morning or collapses the moment reality touches it. This energy creates ideas that can survive in the real world. It creates visions with foundations underneath them. Suddenly, the dreams that once felt too large, too unrealistic, or too complicated begin arranging themselves into something solid enough to build step by step. And this is where the atmosphere becomes deeply personal for you. Because if there has been something trapped inside you lately, a conversation you have delayed, a proposal you could not fully explain, a creative idea that refused to organize itself into language, you may notice today that the words arrive differently. Not through struggle, not through pressure. They emerge naturally, almost as if they have been quietly waiting for this exact alignment to open the door. You may wake up and suddenly know exactly what to say. A sentence forms effortlessly that captures months of confusion. A message you rehearsed endlessly suddenly becomes simple. The right phrase appears at the perfect moment during a conversation and changes the entire emotional direction of the exchange. That is the power of a Mercury. Jupiter sextile operating through Mercury in Taurus and Jupiter exalted in Cancer. This is why these alignments have long been associated with breakthrough communication, successful negotiations, major public announcements, and opportunities delivered through words themselves. During moments like this, the universe does not merely sharpen your mind. It synchronizes your thoughts with timing. Your voice carries differently. Your ideas reach people more deeply. What you say begins landing with unusual weight because the energy behind your communication becomes aligned with a larger current moving through collective consciousness. This is why delaying yourself today may feel strangely painful. Somewhere inside, you already know there is something waiting to be expressed. And if you have been hesitating over whether to send that important email, make the call you keep postponing, submit the proposal sitting unfinished on your screen, or finally move forward with a project you have quietly prepared in private, understand this clearly. Today is not asking you to remain hidden. Today rewards movement. The opening exists now, not someday in the future when fear finally disappears. And what makes this even more powerful is that the communication arriving today is not limited to public events or distant headlines happening somewhere else in the world. People hear astrologers discuss Mercury-Jupiter alignments and immediately imagine global news or collective events, but the real impact often unfolds in deeply personal ways. The message arriving now is connected directly to your own path. It touches your opportunities, your growth, your relationships, your direction, because Mercury moving through Taurus and Jupiter positioned in Cancer activates specific areas within every individual chart. This alignment manifests differently for each person while still carrying the same energetic signature underneath. For some, the breakthrough centers around finances. An overdue answer finally arrives. A business opportunity appears unexpectedly. A conversation about money suddenly becomes productive instead of tense. For others, the shift arrives through career movement, recognition, offers, collaborations, or opportunities that previously seemed unreachable. Some will experience this through emotional breakthroughs inside relationships, where honesty finally replaces silence and understanding replaces distance. Yet regardless of the exact form it takes, the deeper energetic pattern remains identical. Expansion meeting stability. Vision connecting with execution. Potential, finally finding structure strong enough to support it. If you've been waiting for confirmation regarding a job, a contract, a proposal, or a decision that has left you suspended emotionally, this may be the day movement finally occurs. If you have been negotiating terms, discussing agreements, trying to resolve conflict, or searching for middle ground, the current energy strongly supports outcomes built on fairness and mutual benefit rather than force. But in many cases, the most important message will not come from someone else at all. You may realize you are the messenger. You are the one finally prepared to reveal your intentions, speak your truth, share your plans, or declare something you have kept hidden because fear convinced you the timing was not right. Today changes that emotional equation. What once felt terrifying begins feeling necessary. And whatever communication unfolds now, trust that it is not random interruption. It belongs to a much larger sequence already unfolding beneath the surface of your life. Earlier, there was mention of that strange anticipation many people have been carrying lately, that quiet sensation that something important was approaching without being able to explain exactly why. The reason becomes clearer now. Jupiter in Cancer has been interacting powerfully with the collective emotional field, and spiritually sensitive people have unconsciously absorbed this pressure for weeks. Since Jupiter entered Cancer back in June of 2025, it has been magnifying themes connected to emotional safety, home life, family patterns, personal belonging, and the foundations people build their lives upon. Yet until now, much of that energy existed as feeling rather than language. People sensed change approaching but struggled to define it mentally. They felt emotional movement without knowing what direction it wanted to take. And now Mercury arrives to translate those emotions into conscious understanding. Suddenly, the undefined becomes visible. The vague feeling transforms into a clear realization. What once existed as emotional pressure crystallizes into an actionable plan. This is why Mercury-Jupiter alignments often trigger powerful epiphanies. The insight is not actually new. The truth has been forming quietly inside the subconscious mind for weeks or months. What changes today is access. The conscious mind finally becomes capable of receiving what the deeper self has already known. And this is why you must pay attention carefully to the thoughts arriving today that feel different from ordinary mental noise. Certain ideas will carry unusual emotional certainty. Certain realizations will arrive with immediate clarity instead of confusion. You may feel an internal recognition so strong it almost startles you, as though something inside whispers, "This is the answer you've been searching for." Do not dismiss those moments. They are not meaningless imagination. They are signals. They are internal confirmations aligning with the larger cosmic current unfolding now. And the most important thing is this: do not immediately doubt what arrives. Do not sabotage clarity with over-analysis. During Mercury-Jupiter alignments, the insights moving through consciousness are often supported by extraordinary timing and deeper energetic alignment. They are not empty fantasies disconnected from reality. They are pathways revealing themselves before the external world fully catches up. And timing matters more than most people realize. Yes, the entire week carries significant energetic momentum, but May 13th represents the precise center of the alignment itself. Mercury and Jupiter reach an exact 60-degree separation at 12:40 during the night, and that exact point acts like a concentrated energetic doorway where thought, opportunity, timing, and communication become synchronized with unusual precision. You may be wondering whether acting today truly matters, whether taking action now makes any real difference compared to waiting another few days until you feel more prepared, more certain, more emotionally comfortable. And this is exactly the moment where many people unknowingly step out of alignment with the opportunity that was trying to find them. Because timing is not a small detail in astrology. Timing is the mechanism through which energy becomes reality. Planetary aspects behave like tides moving through consciousness. They rise gradually, they reach a precise peak, and then they slowly dissolve back into the background. What is happening on May 13th represents the crest of that energetic wave. This is the point where the current is strongest, where the opening is clearest, where communication, insight, and opportunity are most accessible to the people willing to move with it instead of against it. The days leading up to this moment were preparation. They were emotional build-up, intuitive nudges, subtle realizations, and invisible rearrangements happening beneath the surface of your life. The days after this moment will become integration, where the energy settles into understanding and consequence. But today is activation. Today is the living pulse of the alignment itself. And if you postpone movement for too long, something changes. The opportunity does not completely disappear, but the sharpness fades. The clarity softens. The momentum weakens. It becomes easier to ignore the signs, easier to doubt yourself, easier to convince yourself that the moment was never important to begin with. It is like trying to grab hold of something after it has already lost speed. You may still reach it eventually, but the force behind it has shifted. The current no longer carries you as effortlessly, but when you act during the peak itself, something extraordinary happens. Your words hold more influence. Your ideas connect more deeply with the people receiving them. Your timing appears strangely precise. Negotiations unfold with less resistance. The universe begins supplying momentum that you no longer have to create entirely on your own. And it is important to understand that this does not mean forcing outcomes or aggressively chasing results. In fact, desperation works against this alignment completely. The energy of a Mercury-Jupiter sextile is not about breaking barriers through pressure. It is about recognizing where the opening already exists and having the courage to walk through it while the path is illuminated. This is strategic alignment. This is understanding when life itself is cooperating with movement. So, if there has been something waiting in the background of your mind, something you have prepared quietly, planned carefully, or emotionally circled around for weeks, understand the message of today clearly. This is the signal to move. Send the message, make the call, begin the project, sign the agreement, reveal the idea, open the conversation. The cosmic atmosphere surrounding you right now is not neutral, it is supportive. Yet there is one pattern that repeatedly destroys opportunities during sextile alignments, and it has nothing to do with bad luck, external resistance, or lack of ability. The real danger is hesitation. This is where most people unknowingly sabotage their own breakthrough. The sextile aspect operates differently from other astrological configurations. A trine often creates flow so natural that people become passive and take it for granted. A square creates tension powerful enough to force movement, whether someone feels ready or not. But a sextile behaves differently. It offers possibility without coercion. It opens the door and places the key directly in your hand, but it does not turn the lock for you. That final movement requires conscious participation. This means the opportunities attached to today are not designed to simply fall into your lap while you remain inactive. The luck attached to this alignment responds to engagement. It responds to willingness. It responds to action taken despite uncertainty. And this is precisely where fear disguises itself as logic. People begin telling themselves they should wait longer, gather more information, think more carefully, prepare more thoroughly. They confuse delay with wisdom. But if you've already spent weeks preparing internally, if the idea has already become clear, if the opportunity is already standing in front of you, then endless waiting is no longer discernment. It is fear wearing the mask of caution. Mercury, moving through Taurus, encourages thoughtful action, yes, but thoughtful does not mean frozen. Jupiter, exalted in Cancer, asks for emotional alignment, yes. But emotional alignment does not mean the absence of nervousness or doubt. Sometimes alignment means recognizing that the preparation you already completed is sufficient for the next step. And the painful truth is this: if you hesitate long enough, someone else eventually moves first. The opportunity you doubted yourself out of pursuing gets claimed by a person with less talent but greater willingness. The conversation you were terrified to initiate unfolds without your presence. The opening you stood in front of quietly closes while you are still trying to decide whether you deserve to enter it. Then, weeks later, after the energy has passed and the emotional intensity fades, clarity finally arrives too late. You realize the greatest danger was never action itself. The greatest danger was remaining still while life was asking you to move. Yet what makes this even more extraordinary is that May 13th is only the beginning of a much larger energetic sequence. Because on the very next day, May 14th, another rare and powerful event unfolds. Mercury enters Kazimi at exactly 10:30 in the morning, conjoining the Sun at 23 degrees and 48 minutes Taurus. In ancient astrology, a planet positioned directly in the heart of the Sun was considered to receive purification, elevation, and divine empowerment. Normally, planets moving too close to the Sun become weakened, obscured by its overwhelming brightness, consumed by combustion. But Kazimi is different. When the conjunction becomes exact within 1 degree, the planet is no longer burned. It is transformed. It enters the heart of the Sun itself. Think carefully about what this means symbolically. Today, Mercury initiates movement. It delivers information. It opens conversations. It begins negotiations. But on May 14th, Mercury receives illumination directly from the source of light itself. Confusion falls away. Mental noise dissolves. The deeper truth underneath the situation suddenly becomes undeniable. If you begin something important on May 13th, whether it is a discussion, a contract, a decision, or a creative direction, then May 14th becomes the moment confirmation arrives. This is when uncertainty sharpens into certainty. This is when details begin arranging themselves perfectly. This is when intuitive knowing becomes impossible to ignore. These 2 days are not separate experiences. They function together as a unified energetic mechanism. May 13th activates the opening. May 14th clarifies and purifies it. Then, as if the sequence itself were carefully designed, the Taurus new moon arriving on May 16th grounds everything into physical reality. This creates a compressed 3-day corridor, unlike anything else unfolding this year. Vision becomes communication. Communication becomes clarity. Clarity becomes manifestation. An entire cycle of creation unfolds across 72 hours. And for the people who understand how to consciously work with this sequence, instead of resisting it, breakthroughs that normally require months of effort can suddenly accelerate with astonishing speed. Now the energy becomes personal, because although this alignment is influencing everyone collectively, the exact place where destiny presses against your life depends entirely on your zodiac sign. And this is where many people suddenly realize why certain emotions, pressures, and opportunities have been surfacing so intensely for them lately. If you are an Aries, this alignment is moving directly through your second house of finances, value, and personal worth, while simultaneously activating your fourth house connected to home, family, and emotional foundations. That means the opportunities arriving now are deeply tied to security and stability. You may receive important news involving income connected to property, family businesses, home-based work, living situations, or financial decisions rooted in domestic life. But emotionally, something deeper is also happening. Aries often measures worth through movement and independence, yet this alignment is asking you to recognize that real abundance comes when you stop separating success from emotional stability. The breakthrough arises when you realize you no longer have to choose between building wealth and building a life that actually feels safe. If you're a Taurus, this sequence was practically designed for you. Mercury and the Sun are moving through your first house of identity, while Jupiter expands your third house of communication, making you the center of the message itself. This is not a passive moment where you wait for permission or validation. This is the period where your voice carries magnetic authority. The words you speak now shape how people see you moving forward. You may feel an unusual urge to reveal yourself more honestly, launch something new, share your ideas publicly, or finally step into visibility after hiding your potential for too long. And emotionally, this may feel terrifying because Taurus prefers certainty before exposure. But this alignment is teaching you that confidence is not born from guarantees. Confidence is built the moment you decide your voice deserves to exist in the world before perfection arrives. Gemini. Your alignment reaches into the 12th house of hidden matters while activating the second house connected to wealth and resources. This creates a strange but powerful atmosphere where opportunities may emerge from places you never expected. Financial openings may appear quietly, almost invisibly at first. Intuitive nudges become incredibly important now, because your subconscious mind is processing signals faster than your logical mind can explain. Something hidden is trying to reveal itself to you. And emotionally, many Geminis are beginning to understand that their greatest obstacle has never been lack of talent, but constant mental overstimulation preventing them from trusting their deeper knowing. The abundance arriving now is directly connected to your willingness to listen inward, instead of constantly searching outside yourself for answers. Cancer. With Jupiter moving through your first house, while Mercury activates your 11th house of networks and community, this period becomes deeply connected to the people surrounding you. Someone within your social circle is carrying a key to your next chapter. A friendship, collaboration, recommendation, or community connection may suddenly open a path you could not create alone. Yet emotionally, this alignment is also asking you to stop isolating yourself emotionally out of fear of disappointment. Many Cancers secretly believe they must carry everything alone in order to remain safe. But the breakthrough now arrives through allowing yourself to be supported, seen, and connected to others who genuinely want your growth. Leo, this energy activates your 10th house of career and your 12th house of endings, meaning professional advancement now requires emotional release. Something from the past cannot travel with you into the next level of your life. You may feel opportunities arriving while simultaneously sensing grief, nostalgia, or resistance connected to what must be left behind. This is not punishment. It is elevation. The universe is creating space for your expansion by removing identities, fears, or attachments that no longer match the future waiting for you. Virgo experiences this through the 9th house of expansion and the 11th house of community, making this an incredibly important period for learning, publishing, collaboration, teaching, or aligning with groups that share your deeper vision. Opportunities connected to education, travel, media, or intellectual growth may suddenly accelerate. But psychologically, Virgos are being asked to stop shrinking their knowledge in order to remain comfortable around people who fear growth. The right communities now amplify your purpose instead of limiting it. Libra sees activation through the 8th house of shared resources and the 10th house of career, creating powerful momentum around business agreements, investments, collaborations, and partnerships capable of transforming professional status. Something involving mutual support or shared value may elevate your career dramatically. Yet emotionally, Libras are confronting a deeper lesson about trust. This alignment is showing you that balance does not mean avoiding vulnerability. Real power often requires allowing yourself to depend on aligned partnerships instead of carrying everything through emotional self-protection. Scorpio, after the intense full moon that unfolded in your sign on May 1st, this alignment now activates your 7th house of partnerships and your 9th house of expansion. Important contracts, relationship developments, legal agreements, or long-term commitments may suddenly move forward now. Something that previously felt uncertain begins stabilizing rapidly. Yet emotionally, this alignment is challenging your instinct to remain emotionally guarded even when connection is safe. Growth now requires openness. The next level of your life cannot be built through emotional isolation. Sagittarius, ruled directly by Jupiter itself, experiences this alignment intensely through the 6th house of work, routine, and health, while the 8th house of transformation also becomes activated. Daily structures, physical well-being, habits, and responsibilities are shifting in ways that create deeper empowerment over time. What seems like a simple routine adjustment now may ultimately transform your emotional and physical life completely. Capricorn sees illumination through the 5th house of creativity and romance, while the 7th house of partnerships also becomes energized. Creative projects may deepen into something more serious and rewarding. Romantic connections may move toward commitment or emotional expansion. Yet emotionally, Capricorns are being asked to stop believing joy must always be earned through exhaustion. This alignment reminds you that love and creativity are not distractions from success. They are part of the life you are actually trying to build all along. Aquarius experiences this through the 4th house of home and the 6th house of work, bringing major focus toward emotional foundations, living situations, productivity, and physical well-being. Improvements connected to home life directly strengthen your work and health. And psychologically, many Aquarians are realizing they can no longer separate emotional stability from performance. Your nervous system matters. Your environment matters. Your emotional safety matters. Pisces receives this energy through the 3rd house of communication and the 5th house of creativity, making your voice exceptionally powerful right now. Writers, artists, teachers, speakers, and creatives may experience remarkable flow and inspiration. The words arriving now carry emotional magnetism capable of deeply affecting others. Yet emotionally, Pisces is learning that sensitivity is not weakness. The very depth you once tried to hide is becoming the source of your influence. Wherever this alignment touches your chart, that is where the opening exists. That is where the message arrives. That is where your breakthrough lives if you are willing to activate it consciously. But what most people fail to understand is that this entire sequence extends beyond a single moment. The portal opened by the Mercury-Jupiter alignment continues intensifying through May 17th, creating an unfolding progression far more powerful than one isolated transit. On May 16th, the new moon in Taurus arrives to anchor everything into physical form. The conversations initiated now, the contracts signed, the decisions made, the intentions declared, all begin rooting themselves into material reality during this lunation. What existed as possibility starts becoming structure. Then, on May 17th at 6:30 in the morning, Mercury leaves Taurus and enters Gemini, its home sign, dramatically accelerating mental energy, communication, movement, and dissemination. And only 14 hours later, Mercury conjoins Uranus, the planet associated with awakening, innovation, revolution, and sudden breakthroughs. This is the moment everything speeds up. The careful plans built slowly in Taurus suddenly become ready for exposure, expansion, and collective impact. Ideas that once felt private may rapidly spread outward in ways you never anticipated. A single conversation initiated now may evolve into an opportunity reaching far beyond your original expectations by May 17th. A practical plan may suddenly explode into possibilities you had not even imagined yet. This is why the sequence unfolding now is so extraordinary. It is not random luck scattered across disconnected days. It is a carefully arranged, energetic progression moving from vision into communication, from communication into manifestation, and from manifestation into breakthrough. And if you engage with each phase consciously, if you choose to participate instead of remaining passive, you will eventually look back on the middle of May 2026 as one of the defining turning points of your life, not because fate randomly rescued you, but because you finally responded when the universe placed the opening directly in front of you. Let me be direct with you. The energy you're feeling right now isn't random. The anticipation, the sense that something is about to shift, that's real. And what you choose to do with it in the next 24 hours will ripple forward for the rest of this year. Because here's what's true about sextile aspects. They're tests of readiness. They ask, have you done the preparation? Have you clarified the vision? Are you willing to act when the moment arrives? If the answer is yes, today is your launch pad. If the answer is, I'm not sure, then today becomes a missed opportunity that you'll spend months trying to recreate. So tonight, before you go to sleep, get clear. What's the one thing you've been waiting to do? What's the conversation you've been avoiding? What's the idea you've been refining? What's the opportunity you've been preparing for? Don't overthink it. Your gut already knows. That pull you've been feeling, that's your answer. And today, Wednesday, May 13th, 2020, when Mercury and Jupiter align at 12:40 at night, when the cosmic window opens wide, when the energy peaks move, send the message, make the call sign. The contract, launch the plan. Because luck isn't passive, fortune favors the bold. And this alignment isn't here to hand you success on a silver platter. It's here to amplify the action you take. The difference between people who transform during windows like this and people who stay stuck isn't talent. It isn't worthiness. It isn't even timing. It's willingness. The willingness to trust. The willingness to act. The willingness to claim what's being offered. And I know you're willing because you're still here. You're still watching. You're paying attention when most people are asleep. That tells me everything I need to know about you. You're ready. The universe is ready. Today, it all comes together. So when you wake up on May 13th, Don't let doubt talk you out of what clarity is showing you. Don't let fear disguise itself as patience. Don't let the opportunity pass because you convinced yourself you needed just a little more time. The time is now. The window is open. The alignment is exact. This is your moment. Claim it. If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.